You're such an asshole.
Good morning, children. Got GDP to produce today, so let's get to it. Scratch my ears. That's the secret to becoming an influencer. They always forget to tell you to scratch your ears. That is the key to my success. Scratch your ears. Hi, Aaron. I'd like to suggest a video topic that might be a bit controversial, but I think it's worth exploring, especially given your consistent endorsement of engineering and computer science degrees as practical ROI fields. I come from a background in both physics and mathematics, my undergraduate degrees, and computer science, my master's. I also spent a year in engineering school before switching to physics, and that switch was largely driven by something I noticed about the academic culture and engineering computer science program, which my master's later confirmed. Now, just for I pre-read this, it sounds like I did nerdy shit, but he's making a key distinction between pure physics and pure math degrees, right? Versus practical STEM. I'm not saying they're not practical, but applied engineering degrees. Like, there's chemistry, that's purely chemistry. And then there's chemical engineering where there's an applied practical aspect to it. And he's distinguishing between math and physics, pure, versus, say, engineering, computer science, a practical application. And he has both undergrads in the pure and then a master's degree in the practical. I also spent a year in engineering school before switching to physics, and that switch was largely driven by something I noticed about the academic culture and engineering and computer science program, which my master's later confirmed. Unlike physics and math, which rely heavily on in-person exams and time problem solving, most engineering and computer science programs today assess students through take-home projects, assignments, and reports. That model made more sense pre-AI, but now with tools like ChatGPT, this difference is crucial. In my master's program, nearly everyone used AI to complete assignments and take-home assessments, and many students earned top grades while barely grasping the material. By contrast, physics and math courses were much more resistant to this kind of shortcut. Even take-home problem sets often require deep understanding and involve proof-based questions that are far harder for AI to solve reliably. I remember spending over 12 hours. Dude, I had some nerdy friends who were, engineer type like that. Yeah, some of those things were brutal. A lot of my stats were like that too. Nowhere near, it doesn't compare a whole lot like the STEM. But there were some statistics and financial analysis stuff that took a bit. I remember spending over 12 hours on just a few physics problems because no online sources, even pre-AI, could help. In other words, you actually had to think. Interestingly, the only computer science courses in my program that maintained that level of rigor were the ones offered by the mathematics department, usually in data science. These relied on closed book exams worth 80% of the final grade. Most students, myself included, scored much lower in these courses because we're used to using AI tools. Many of it's just like the calculator. You're young. See, in my day, back in the day, we couldn't use calculators. You had to do it by hand. Many of my peers, especially those from engineering backgrounds, actively avoided these classes out of fear of timed in-person exams. To be clear, I have used ChatGPT myself, but what concerns me is how heavily and uncritical it's used in engineering and informatics programs. I've even seen engineering students get caught cheating when they took their physics electives simply because they weren't used to environments where understanding was strictly enforced. This is bad. This is so bad. I realize a full curriculum reform is unlikely, but the broader question remains, are we inflating credentials in technical fields by relying on assessment models that AI can now easily get? Yes. You see, it's funny that you're asking me. You lived it, man. You're on the front line. This is exactly like I'm some pompous asshole World War I field marshal, right? Sitting there drinking my brandy and scotch. Tip, top, tip. And you were on the front trenches of World War I, and you saw this horrific shit. You come back and report to me, say, hey, I think this is going on. What do you think? I'd be like, now, if I wasn't an arrogant field marshal, I'd be like, what are you asking me for? You're the one who's there. You are telling me, yes, it is happening. You were there. Yeah, so I realized that are we inflating credentials in technical fields by relying on assessment models that AI can now easily game. I don't know if we're inflating credentials. We are diluting the credentials that already exist, right? And then the key look, there's passing tests, right? They're studying for the test, and then there's learning the material. I'll give you something exactly identical. Efficient frontier analysis, which is complete bullshit. All right. You are to mix. God, they fucking drilled this into our heads, and you barely use it. If you mix different asset classes together based on their past performance, which is not going to happen into the future, so you could throw the whole damn thing out. You can lower your risk by optimizing the combination of, say, fixed income assets versus equities. All right. And it's a simple, well, as far as calculus goes, it's a simple calculation. I would do it by hand. Every other dipshit at the Carlson School of Management had to use their financial calculator. Right. And I don't think any of, I'll be, and it's probably the same thing, but to a lesser extent in your STEM programs. Dude, by the third grade, at least in America, you were conditioned just, God, this is a nightmare. I wish it ends. I just need to pass the test, get an A, and get my parents and my teacher off my ass, right? I can't even necessarily fault the students. I can't fault the guy for like, hey, how long had that kid been going to school? 17 years, and he shows AI. It's like a liberation. The other thing is that if you talk to roofers or flashers, you must become the water. Water always seeks the lowest level, and get an understanding water helps you become a good roofer and gutter installer and flasher and all that. Because if you truly understand water, you could protect the house from getting wet and having leaks and everything else. And it's the same thing here. You have to understand intuitively at the atomic level whatever system you're studying. Not merely what is the correct answer. And if you're using programs or AI to get the answer, that's even worse because number go up because you got the right answer. And you deny yourself the ability to actually understand the systems that you're dealing with. That may be irrelevant in a financial planning sense because the index beats everybody and it's bullshit and past performance doesn't predict the future. So the practicality of it's a very nice theory, but it's not practical. But in engineering, that's not theory. That's math. That's reality. And if these guys don't intuitively understand the system, then they're not going to be able, or to a much lesser extent, be able to solve whatever physics, math, engineering, chemistry problem, which obviously has some pretty big ramifications. Like, oh, I don't know, bridges. I don't know if you've ever watched that documentary of the bridge that was at the university down in Florida and collapsed and killed a bunch of people. And they said, "Oh yeah, it was a affirmative action by a bunch of girls." I'm like, "Okay, sure it was. That's just clickbait." Then you find out, "Oh yeah, there seems to be some truth to that." Big old crack in it, and then I'm not an engineer. I'm not a civil engineer. I'm a structural engineer. But if I see a crack in concrete, I know there's hairline crack. I know it settles, but the cracks are like this thick, this wide. I'm like, boy, now, like, shut it down, stop the traffic from going underneath it. And I'm betting, well, in that case, it was more DEI than it was AI. Um, but that's an example of someone who does not understand the the nature. They are not one with the physics, right? They're not one with the force. And if you do not have a total comprehensive understanding of what's going on, then you also do not know how other systems interact with it. I guess if we want to continue with the bridge example, weather, wind, uh, weight, sun, heat, expansion, contraction, right? You just know how to solve for X. You don't even know how to solve for X. You plug it in and AI solves for X. It cannot help but undermine and lessen the quality of STEM professors, or I'm sorry, STEM professionals, engineers, physicists, etc., and consequently have a negative effect on the quality and caliber of the stuff they design and build. Yeah, I mean, look, and your concern is not minor. If anything, it's very important because it's death. Forget bridges collapsing. How about planes, right? Like, do you want a bunch of Becky's and Trish's who got by? Because tee girl boss is an airline. I love it. I love the planes. Just getting passed along, and they don't understand true aerodynamics and aerospace engineering and drag and airlift and say, well, the whatever, the tensile strength or the shear strength of different composite materials that must go into this plane so that it doesn't fall out of the sky and people die. And it's very well masked, right? Oh, look, they got straight A's. Well, no, the AI got straight A's. They're more like a C minus or maybe F. They just didn't pass. And now we go, oh, well, look at, I see a 3.9. You're hired. And then when it comes to design, right, and your math, physics, and computer science. All right, so you're kind of you lean to the IT world. I don't know anything about composite or materials and engineering or metallurgy, right? Neither do you. I mean, you probably do with your physics, but that would be, you could design some kind of great computer from maybe a software perspective or an operating system perspective, but you wouldn't know anything or less than the actual circuits, the hardware that goes into it, because you don't have a background in metallurgy or composite science. And then you get some AI person, some using AI as a handicap, and they decide the computer is going to fail. So everyone, starting at the atomic level in all aspects of a system, whether that's a computer, a bridge, an airplane, whatever, 100%, or it's just going to fail. And then there's going to be consequences. You're lucky if the computer, the blue screen of death. That's your best outcome. The worst would be, I don't know, a nuclear reactor failing, right? Are we inflating credentials? You are not only inflating credentials in the technical fields, you are undermining the profession. Not you personally, of course. I can't convince you that physics and math programs are inherently better, but they are more rigorous. They are. But I mean, what would be the point of having a physics and math program if you are not teaching the actual physics and the math, that it's just, we'll have a computer solve for it? Well, then, you just enter it into Google and it gives you the answer. It's like going to the gym and again, having other people lift your weight. So I can understand the pure theoretical fields. Like, we're studying math, right? And you got to understand that's the whole point. But then using math as a tool to understand engineering, and you compromise on the math or you outsource it whole. Oh yeah, everything is undermined. Everything is undermined. Though I believe I can't convince you that physics and math programs are inherently better, though I believe they are if they are not better rewarded in the job market. But I generally love to hear your take on the issue. Best regards, will keep you anonymous. Yeah, you're 100% right, buddy. 100% right. But and this has been happening across it too. I remember when you had to earn an A. That's how old I am. Like an A plus was 100. You got everything right. A minus, of course, it depends on. I'm sorry. An A was 90, 96 to 99. An A minus was 93 to 95. Right. Grade inflation has been happening all over the place. The tools by which to get better grades have increased. I think teachers and professors have become even more apathetic and don't give a fuck anymore. They just want their fucking money and go. And just like water, humans they're going to be highly tempted. See, like, you have intellectual honesty, or you just have a passion for math. Like, you really want to know it. Okay. But at least you're honest. Like, no, I want to learn how to do the math. I need to understand it. Most humans, even STEM, doesn't matter. I don't care if they're nerds or STEM. That doesn't make them better people. Just like water wants to find the lowest level, humans want to find the easiest, most lazy way. And they'll always be tempted to do that. As an economist, I can understand. It's like, well, yeah, that's going to save you time and increase your standards of living with free time. But people are short-sighted. And this is why adults should be adults and say, no, you're going to do it by, like you said, here, no, you got to take a test. Here, now, no computer, no calculator. You got to do it you got to show us you actually understand this shit. But if you do not guard against that, the vast majority of humans, STEM or not, are going to default to the lowest level. They're going to put in the least amount of work, and they'll find every little nook and cranny, like water finds in between the siding and your the board wall or whatever it's called. They're going to find every way to do it. Matter of fact, that's almost how you have to have, that's like the definition of building civilization is we need to prevent rules and laws from you taking shortcuts and cheating and stealing and otherwise just being lazy. And this is serious because if it's widespread within academia, which it probably is, quality of engineers we're graduating today are lower quality than they were before, and that's going to have an effect on safety, the efficacy of the machine. Car, auto manufacturer, like what cars, the materials, the type of steel they use, they build it so that the engine in the car takes most of the impact away, so the least amount of impact hits the human being inside, kind of like egg cartons. If Joey, he used AI to pass his metallurgy test, and he doesn't carry the one or lacks the true understanding and forgets to factor in a factor that's critically important that compromises the structural integrity of the steel, yeah, people are going to die. But hey, at least people are late. And I don't know what to say about it. If anything, yes, we should be sounding the alarms about this. And you are reporting from the front lines of the trenches of World War I. And hey, this is a serious concern. Just like World War I, I guess anywhere, are the higher ups going to listen and do they give a fuck? Because guess who else is lazy? Academians, right? College professors and teachers. And now it's a welcome to the enjoy the decline type of scenario. Like, good luck getting anyone to listen to you. And I don't know what to say. Until there are standards that are reinforced starting in school, starting in the industry, quality. I mean, hell, corpos getting quality. How many layers? We're at the end of the day, we're talking quality control. So not only in terms of the labor, making sure we're designing the right product, that the products work. What about corpos? Right? They design shit to break. They don't give a fuck about. They just do the bare minimum to get by. The food. Oh my god! Like, I'm not kidding. We could paint an analogy between STEM majors and food quality at restaurants, right? Anything to get by, just the lowest grade slop possible. Private equity takes over, just cut all the expenses, get it. Here's your world's most boring shit tasting food, P.F. Chang's. There you go. It's so sad. I'm happy I got to eat at P.F. Chang's when it was good. Now it's just like, what is this shit? I'll just go to the freezer aisle and buy some freezer food because it's the same crap you guys have. It's just in a freezer. And we're going to suffer at all levels because if it's not just engineers, but it's everyone being lazy during the entire production process of whatever good or service you're providing. The most annoying, but the least concerning of which, of course, okay, so P.F. Chang's food tastes like shit now. I'm not going to P.F. Chang's. Okay, our standards of living are slightly lowered because we can't get as good of Asian food going out to eat at chain restaurants now. All right, it sucks. All right, a little bit more important, dental offices, again, being taken over by private equity, where they falsely diagnose work that you don't need to have done. I got to talk to Chad about that. And they bill you an extra $300, $400 per kid, which now that seriously cuts into your standard of living. Or death. Because someone didn't, fine, ChatGPT or AI did the math right. You got the right answer for this, but because you didn't understand structural engineering, you forgot to factor in heat and cold and other stressors. Because all you at that point in time, here's this might explain it and describe it very, very clearly. We no longer have engineers. We have data entrymen, right? Same thing happened over my career, and I even programmed the models to do this. you used to have to do things by hand, right? And in order to underwrite or analyze a loan, you got to go crunch some numbers and statistics, and you can pull the numbers and do it individually. I just created a spreadsheet. You enter in all the financial data and it crunches out the numbers for you. But I intuitively understood what a debt to service ratio is, debt to equity, loan to value, all that other shit. If they don't understand that, all they're doing is entering data. That's it. All they're doing is entering data. And then they can't make a decision afterward because they don't know what the result means. They haven't gone through and said, oh, yeah. And this then has like if I see someone with, I don't know, I see a debt service coverage ratio of 3-to-1. I'm like, well, that's pretty good. Oh, but we got to factor in what the personal debt service is as well, right? As someone just making a commercial loan, like, well, look, yeah. But if he's guaranteeing it, what's his personal finances look like? That's the shit we're talking about. And yes, the quality and caliber of everything on our standards of living are going to go down. So it's good that you're raising. You know what you should do? You should really do this if you care. And you know what I think you should, because that way you're not going to have any regret. You will have put in effort. I'm not saying you're a slave, right? And anybody can be very libertarian. But I think you'll feel good about yourself. Like when I went and started reporting different banks and bankers to the FDIC and the OCC and different regulatory agencies saying, hey, this bad I did my thing. I did the right thing. Nobody listened, but I did the right thing. I think you should go to the different guilds. Well, I'm trying to remember the one. Oh, what the fuck was it? It's like the Electrical Engineer Association. I would go to the engineering licensing agencies or the professional guilds. I'm sure there's a specific, chemical engineers, electrical engineers, structural, definitely. Maybe you start there and contact to say, look, this is a real concern here. And I want to let you know, contact a couple of, maybe even OSHA. Go to OSHA, so that you get the feds, you get the regulatory agency that has the tooth of law in it. And then you go to the professional guilds. And then after that, you know what? You've done your part. You were a good citizen, right? You helped out your fellow human being, and now you're good to go. Because otherwise you say, oh, I don't know, something's happening. Like if you've ever seen, what's a great movie for you to watch? And it's a great movie for you. Go watch A Bridge Too Far. Because it's about Operation Market Guard and how it failed. And it failed on so many different levels. They find out that there's a Panzer division where they're going to invade, and the intelligence analyst comes up and he says, sir, we found some Panzers in the village we're going to try and overtake. It's like, oh, I doubt that. They're dismissing because they just want the invasion to go on. And then there's people where they got the radios and it's saying these radios won't work below sea level, which if you know about Holland, then it's below sea level. Why aren't you going to tell them? Well, I'm not going to get in trouble with the boss. That's the kind of shit, right? You got to try and warn them. You got to be like Fuller. Well, I doubt the serviceable, Fuller. Now listen here. We're going to do it, and this time the party's on. But, sir, we get reports from the underground. And so is Montgomery. Yeah, you should watch it. Then you'll see what you're in store for. You're going to be Fuller. You're going to go up to him and you're like, hey, I got some concerns. You know what? At least Fuller was the same, right? Fuller was the good guy. That's just a good movie for anybody to watch in general. Nice, long, good guy flick. Good guy flick. Got a lot of great stars in it. I don't know anyone doesn't. I mean, the good guys lose, but that's how it happened in history. We haven't the facilities to take you all prisoner. Sorry. Is there anything else? We were a proper culture once. All right, so there you go. Good for reporting it, man. And I'm not the guy. I can't do anything about it except raise awareness. But I would go to the regulatory agencies, the guilds, maybe even OSHA, say this is a serious Department of Education, maybe. You're closer to me. You must know that there's a regulatory guild, professional institution or agency, like whoever licenses engineers. I would go there. I know the engineers got to get their licenses. I don't know which one that is. That's what I would do. I would do that. Hand clogs, $2. Cappy gives BL a 4, 9.5 out of 10. We should all buy 150. 150. I paid 70 for it, which is a bit pricey. Normally I wait. I always get it used. I won't lie, Hat. I'm playing it now. To be honest, I've only played 3 hours, right? Because I got other stuff going on. It's good. It's just I'm shocked. Not how good it is. I mean, it's good. I'm shocked how they didn't fuck with the formula too much. It's another Borderlands game that millennial writing is gone in the handful of cutscenes I've seen. There's a token bit, like, yeah, of course, one of the main characters you could pick is Ironheart chick, smart, sassy little black girl who's a genius. She's a tech genius. But that's like, game's been in development for 4 or 5 years. So that trope, that stereotype, which is now already past its expiration date, is in there. But that's a minor thing. Yeah, it's a diversity crowd when you find a different team. Oh my God, he's a big, large black man who cooks. He loves cooking. Oh my God, isn't he affable? So that's there. But it's just straight up pretty good. I don't like. Technically, they fucked with the weapon systems. It's harder to figure out which weapon you like the most. They got rid of Marcus's voice. That's probably the biggest drawback. I love Marcus. Oh, little kid, tell me, get out of here. Stop it. You're not the police of me. Whoa, you would like to hear a story, huh? That voice actor is gone, apparently. So, but otherwise, yeah, it's just run and gun and shoot creatures. It's the same. Like 94% the same. But I wouldn't pay $150 for it. Where's that? Chaz, geez, did you hit too many zeros? $50. Chad, thanks for the $50. Hi, Cappy. Just want to say thanks for teaching me the importance of minimalism and freedom. No problem. I'll be taking a 5-day weekend to car camp and salmon fish. Oh, where are you going? While all the pussy whip normies will be chained to a 9-to-5 and debt, it's nice. It is nice, you inferior sheep. Yes, they are inferior, aren't they? Normies, conformies, inferiors, known as slaves, you guys. But bro, Chad, bro, you don't have, I bet your car isn't an SUV, bro. Sleeping in a car, bro? Oh, you can't afford a hotel, bro? Bro, I put it on my MasterCard. I get points, bro. And my interest rate is only 17%, bro. Look at this square over here fishing. Yeah, I hope Montana maybe or something like that. And thanks for the $50. No, you don't have to. I don't even know the super chat. If you want, send me like a picture of the I want to see the river. Here, do this, Chad. Send me a pic of the river that you're fishing. Give me a little bit of mountains in the back. I'm gonna try and guess where you are. I got a step cousin older than me. This guy is unreal because decades before I was alive, he went and explored Montana, Idaho, this and that. And anytime I take a picture, he's like, is that Lava Lake? I'm like, how the fuck did you know this? Oh, is that outside of Staples, Idaho? The hot springs are just down the street. I'm like, God damn, man. Uber Noob, $5. What are you most looking forward to with the upcoming recession? I don't know. Is it here or not? I thought we've just been in this economic malaise. No joke. I don't. Since 2020, 2021. I haven't paid attention because I'm a minimalist. Like, recessions don't affect me as much. I don't live paycheck to paycheck. I don't have that. So recessions could go fuck themselves as far as I'm concerned. I have adequate years of savings of money. What are you most looking forward to with the upcoming recession? For me, it's automakers getting spanked for overpriced cars. Here's what you and everyone else. This is okay. I'm being 100% serious. I know you ask a funny question there, Uber New, but this is serious. Do you know what the number one most important thing about recessions are for everyone, especially young people? Lower asset prices. Recessions are great. Like how you think a fire is bad for a forest. Well, it actually is okay, it's bad for that forest there right now that's getting burned to death. You know what it's good for? The future seedlings going forward because the ashes fertilize the ground. And it's just the process and the nature of life. Recessions are almost identical. It wipes out all the old, dead, impaired, weak trees. It repopulates, refertilizes the soil, and then the seeds that are down below below the burn line grow, and you have a new forest that comes up. It's the same thing. Every young person should be cheering for collapsing asset prices. Yes, it sucks on the employment end, right? You guys are going to lose your jobs and times are tight and you don't make as much money as older people. But you know what happens? Housing prices come down. Car prices come down. Gas prices come down because there's not as much economic activity and therefore demand for gas. And then, think about it, but stock pricing coming down, that's great because it makes your retirement a lot cheaper, which is like the third or second most expensive item you're ever going to buy between housing and debatably your education. You want a recession, especially if I know, go look him up. Ryan Steva, Homestead Consulting. He has a channel. I remember when him and his wife, because he used to be a tenant of mine long ago, him and his wife were renting from me in like 2005, 2006. Housing crisis hits. Prices drop for housing. Him and his wife picked up a nice, modest home in a good neighborhood. I don't know. I'd have to speculate, but like around a buck 50, $150,000. Another friend of mine, he bought a house in the 90s, early 2000s, sold in 2005. He didn't intend to do it at the time. He just got lucky. Sold it, moved down to North Carolina. Housing market crashed while him and his wife were renting it, and they bought a house for a song. Now, of course, they were in their 20s. They were younger then. That's what you and everybody, I know recessions are bad on the employment end, but you want recessions. You want, and also for those who are entrepreneurial, you want prices to come crashing down because you know what is another asset? Businesses, right? A restaurant goes belly up. Now, I would never recommend you run a restaurant, but let's say you want to run a restaurant. Recession hits. Pablo's Pancakes, he has to liquidate because he can't keep up with the payments. So he's got to sell his equipment and his kitchen and the everything involved with that restaurant. He's got to sell it discounted, sometimes by 60, 70%. He paid full price for the brand new kitchen equipment. You come in, buy for 30 cents on the dollars. Now all of a sudden you can run a successful restaurant. That's why you want a recession. That's what all of you should, and that includes cars. Yes, Uber Noob, cars especially. Fucking $37,000 for a brand new car on average. Get the fuck out of here. You want a to show you mathematically what I'm talking about. Everyone generally under 40, you know what you want the stock market to crash to, right? You want the Dow Jones Industrial Average to go down to 1 point. The boomers don't want that, but you're not them and fuck them, right? You want the stock market to come collapsing down to 1 point. Why? Then you would buy it at 1 point, and then you want it to go up to a billion, trillion, billion points. And then you sell it, the day you retire, you sell a little bit as you retire, but in theory, it gets up to a million, billion, trillion points. You sell it there, and then you know what happens the next day? It drops down to a point again, just like a forest fire coming through and wiping it all out. So to give you a different perspective, yes, recessions are bad on the employment end, but they're good on the asset end. And if you're younger, that's the very big and large and not insignificant at all silver lining to recessions. This again puts huge emphasis on you having a real degree so you weather recessionary storms, right? Journalism majors, political science majors, and other people who suck dick at a truck stop, they're the ones that gotta worry about recessions. Surgeons, doctors, our fine engineering friend, computer science guy over here, not so much. All right, there you guys go. Link below is the book Enjoy the Decline. Take a look at it. We'll see you guys later. Toodles.